He thought his parents would live forever. Obina was born in a small village called Umuaro, where everyone knew each other. He was the only son of his parents, Pa Eze and Mama Adama, two hard-working farmers who loved him dearly. They sacrificed everything to send him to school in the city so he could have a better life. And Obina, he promised to make them proud. Years passed, and Obina became a successful young man in the city. He had a good job, nice clothes, and beautiful car. Every weekend, he would go to parties and meet different women. He spent his money on flashy things and new friends who praised him, calling him Big Man. But in all this time, he never visited his parents. Whenever Pa Eze and Mama Adama called him, he would answer quickly, saying, "Don't worry, I'll come home soon." But soon never came. His parents missed him and would sit outside their small hut every evening, hoping to see him return. They would talk about how proud they were of their son and how someday he would take care of them like he promised. One day, Mama Adama fell sick. It started with just a little cough, but it got worse each day. Pa Eze sold some of their goats to take her to the herbalist, but the herbs didn't work. He tried calling Obina, but Obina was busy at a party, laughing and dancing with his friends. He didn't pick up the call. Days went by, and Pa Eze became desperate. He finally sent a message through one of the villagers, begging Obina to come home because Mama Adama was very sick. When Obina got the message, he felt a little worried, but quickly brushed it off. "She'll be fine," he told himself. "Mama is strong. I'll go and see her next week. After I finish this project at work." He kept delaying, thinking there would always be time. Meanwhile, back in the village, Mama Adama's condition worsened. She became too weak to get out of the bed. Her once bright eyes now dull with pain. Pa Eze, helpless and tired, stayed by her side, holding her hand and whispering words of comfort. But deep inside, she was breaking. Obina continued his life in the city, unaware of how quickly time was running out. One evening, while he was out at a fancy dinner with a new woman he had met, he got a call. This time, it was not just a message, it was news. His mother had passed away. The shock hit him like cold water. His heart raced, and his hands trembled. He couldn't believe it. "No, it's not true," he muttered. "Mama can't be gone. I was supposed to see her son." But the truth was tearing at him. He had wasted all that time, thinking he could always go back home later. But now, later was gone. Obina rushed back to Umuaru, driving fast through the dusty roads. When he got to the village, everything felt strange. The house that once felt warm and full of life was now silent. His father, Pa Eze, sat on a wooden stool outside, his face empty, his body slouched like a man who had lost everything. Obina knelt before his father, tears rolling down his cheeks. "Papa, I'm sorry," he cried. "I should have come. I should have been here." Pa Eze looked at him, but said nothing for a long time. Finally, he spoke, his voice low and filled with sadness. "We waited for you, Obinna. Your mother waited for you, but you never came." The pain in those words tore at Obinna's heart. He wanted to turn back time, to change everything, but it was too late. As the days went by, Obinna tried to make it up to his father. He stayed in the village, helping out, fixing things around the house, and making sure Paese had everything he needed. But the guilt never left him. He could still hear his mother's voice in his head, calling after him, waiting for him to come home, and he had ignored her. One cold morning, Obinna woke up to find that Paese wasn't in his room. He searched the house, calling out, but there was no answer. His heart began to race again, just like the day he heard about his mother. He ran outside, and there, by the mango tree, where Paese and Mama Adama used to sit together, he found his father lying on the ground, his eyes closed forever. Obinna's scream echoed through the village. The people came running, but it was already too late. Paese had gone to be with his wife. Now, Obinna was truly alone. The funeral was a quiet affair. As the village elders chanted and the villagers mourned, Obinna stood by the graves of his parents, his body shaking with grief. He had spent his life chasing after things that didn't matter, thinking his parents would always be there when he was ready. But now, they were gone, and he was left with nothing but memories and regrets. The city, the parties, the fancy clothes, and the women, none of it mattered anymore. Obinna sat on the ground beside the graves, staring at the earth that covered his parents. He wished he could speak to them one more time, tell them how much he loved them, how sorry he was, but it was too late. As the sun began to set, casting a red glow over the village, Obinna knew one thing for sure. He had made the biggest mistake of his life. Obinna stayed in the village after his father's burial, living in the house that once felt like home, but now felt like an empty shell. Every corner reminded him of his parents, his mother's laughter, his father's stories by the fire, but they were all echoes now, lost in the wind. His life in the city felt far away, and the parties, the women, and the so-called friends had all disappeared. In their places was only silence. One evening, Obinna sat under the old mango tree, the same spot where his parents had spent countless hours together. As he watched the sun dip below the horizon, he realized that he had been running after things that could never truly bring happiness. His parents had given him love, care, and support, but he had taken it all for granted. With tears in his eyes, he spoke softly, as though his parents could still hear him. "Mama, Papa, I'm so sorry. I thought you'd be here forever. I thought there would always be time." The wind blew gently, rustling the leaves above him, but there was no answer. Only the soft sounds of the village in the distance and the chirping of crickets filled the air. Obinna wiped his tears and made a vow to himself. He would never make such a mistake again. He would live his life differently, with more care and thought for the people who mattered most. He began to visit the elders in the village, helping them with their farms, listening to their stories, and learning from their wisdom. Slowly, the weight on his heart began to lift, but the regret remained forever. Obina understood that he could never change the past, but he could honor his parents by living a life they could have been proud of. Life lessons. 1. Cherish your loved ones while they are here. Obina's biggest mistake was believing his parents would always be there. He thought there would always be more time to visit them, to show them love and care, but time awaits no one, and tomorrow is never guaranteed. Always make time for the people who matter most in your life. 2. Material things can never replace the love of family. Obina chased after wealth, fancy clothes, and life of enjoyment, thinking these things would bring him happiness. But when his parents were gone, none of those things mattered. True joy comes from meaningful relationships, not from possessions or fleeting pleasures. 3. Regret is the heaviest burden to carry. Obina was left with deep regret for neglecting his parents in their time of need. Once time is lost, it cannot be reclaimed, and the pain of regret can last a lifetime. It's better to act with love and care now, rather than live with the weight of what could have been. If you were Obina, would you have let time run out? How will you cherish those who matter most before it's too late? Share your thoughts below. If you enjoyed this video, you'll love the one showing on your screen. For more thrilling tales, subscribe and turn on post notification.